Good morning. This is a brief introduction to the interface for monitoring and evaluating English language learner progress. The interface was developed by the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages. This introduction is going to briefly describe what each of these tabs can do, but more detail will be available from the Bilingual Education Office. So briefly, we have a Title III reporting page, and this page provides virtually all of the information that would be required for a district to complete the Title III reporting requirements, such as the number of ELs, number of exited students, long-term ELs, students with disabilities, and so forth. It also provides information with respect to performance on English language content divided up by initial performance level. This is also displayed graphically down below. And this tab, like all of the other tabs, allows for some selections of disaggregation so that additional analyses could be done to identify strengths and challenges for particular schools within a district. The second tab that we have is the School Progress tab. And this tab focuses on the English language proficiency indicator that's used for accountability. And you can see in the middle of this tab that if a particular school is highlighted, this would be their ELP result. And then the table below identifies the result for various subgroups. There's two important caveats that should be noted when looking at the results for the ELP indicator. Because the interface is really designed to focus analyses on current students without limitations, the results here follow that line of thinking. And so the ELP indicator results are displayed whether or not a school meets the minimum N, which is useful if a school is very close to the minimum N. It gets some sense of how their performance would look like once they reach that minimum N. Secondly, since the focus is on current student performance, this ELP indicator only includes current students and no prior students. So again, it provides an indication of what that indicator looks like and how current students are contributing to the overall indicator. On the left side here, there's a display of the cumulative progress for each school, and this is broken out by years in the program and the initial performance level. Across the bottom, we have two charts that allow a district to compare schools within that district on English language performance in English language arts and mathematics, accounting for the average English language proficiency of ELs in those schools. And so the idea is to find the vertical band that a particular school falls within and compare that to the other schools in that band, and hence there would be a picture of the relative performance given English language proficiency. The next tab looks at school performance in a little more detail and allows some comparisons so that the district can again use these disaggregation boxes to focus on some specific subsets of students. And the results that are displayed are by school with various outcomes, such as domain outcomes, percent meeting progress long term, and then English language content as well. So for example, the district could compare schools across all ELs, or if a school wanted to only focus on, if a district wanted to focus only on students with disability, then they could make that selection, and you can see that the results then are all displayed only for students with disability. Again, the idea here is that this would be a useful way for districts to identify schools or programs that have particular strengths and challenges, and then to use that to help monitor and improve the outcomes for all EL students. Moving from school progress to individual student progress, this page is really designed for looking at individual students, although some of the graphs on this page are amenable for using in aggregate for looking at groups of students. But focusing first on individual students, you can see the top left point of this page provides for the selected student, here student 2, where they started, how long they've been in the program, whether they've made progress, whether they're on track, what their targets are, and so forth. And then this is presented graphically in this chart here, which demonstrates what this student's expected trajectory looks like given where they started, this green line shows the trajectory, and then the red dot, which would be green if the student were on track, but the red dot indicates where that student is currently. Then over here we have two additional, more disaggregated information, two additional charts. This chart displays the selected student's domain performance compared to the domain performance of students who have similar contextual information, that is, who have the same number of years in the program and had the same initial starting point. And so you can see this student, for example, is pretty close to the average for his peers or her peers, and slightly above them in reading and listening. The chart below highlights how much growth has occurred by domain for this particular student. So the green highlighted area is where growth occurred. So there was some growth that happened in speaking and in listening from the previous year to the current year. These two charts can be used for individual students, and they can also be used for groups of students. So you can make these comparisons for schools, or you can make this comparison for any disaggregate that you have. So again, these two charts can be used in aggregate or for individuals, and this information here really only makes sense when you select individual students. Finally, we have the student listing page, and again, this is a page where a district or a school can begin to disaggregate information and perhaps group like students to identify, again, strengths and challenges, where they may need to focus some additional attention, or could draw from some success stories on particular types of students, or where particular types of students are doing particularly well. So again, similar information is presented as on the other pages, such as how much progress was made, the progress percentile, so what is the percentile rank of that progress, and information such as that. And then a school could very easily say, a district could say, well, we want to focus on this particular school, and we only want to focus on students that lost ground. And so here we have a very specific list of students who lost ground, and that might be useful information then to identify where additional support might be needed for this subset of students because they have lost ground. Of course, this can be further whittled down to students who are students with disability, for example, or any other disaggregation that the district might be interested in performing. So again, that was a very brief introduction to the interface, and additional information will be available from the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages. Thank you very much.